Poschelli!
You ever watch one of those cop TV shows where they're going to arrest the bad guy, and as they're going in, the bad guy shoots at them? And what's the first thing that you say to yourself watching the movie or the TV show, whatever it is? Shoot back! Okay, there you go. I got your attention. Breonna Taylor, terrible, tragic situation. But, as people say in law enforcement, it was a quote-unquote good shooting. Now, that does not mean it was a good result. That means that the cop was justified in shooting in the instance, okay? Guys that watch my show know that I'm a retired NYPD sergeant before I started doing Muscle Sport Magazine, Muscle Sport LLC, Muscle Sport Media, whatever you want to call it. I did many years in plainclothes, over a decade, in narcotics, either as an undercover, an investigator, then I was in a regular precinct detective squad, kind of like NYPD blues, suit and tie stuff. All right, so I have done a lot of search warrants, hundreds. I've been in the field team, either as the guy who took the warrant out, and it was my case, my collars, or as just part of the field team. And there's all different parts of the field team. I've testified at trials with this and stuff like that. I have a lot of experience when it comes to the no-knock search warrants. And the reason why you have a no-knock search warrant when it comes to narcotics is one of two reasons. It could be a very dangerous situation because drug dealers usually have firearms to protect the drugs and or the money. Or two, they can get rid of the evidence. I'll give you an example. One time in Manhattan South TNT, when I worked in there in the early 90s, we didn't have a hydraulic ram. We had a regular battering boom ram, okay? And every time we hit the fucking door, you heard the toilet flush. Guess what happened when we finally gained entry to this guy's apartment? He flushed down all the fucking cocaine, right? So I don't remember the details. I think they were able to get some residue out of the toilet bowl or whatever and labbed it, and it came back as cocaine. Whatever the case may be. Obviously, the worst day of my career was the reason why I have this shirt when my buddy Louis Lopez got shot and killed on March 10th, 1993 at 15:58 hours. Okay, Louis worked in Manhattan South Narcotics District with us. He was doing a case in the 9th Precinct in the Lower East Side, 1st Street and 1st Avenue. He was buying guns and drugs, marijuana. So everybody says marijuana is a non-violent drug. I tell them to go fuck their mother. And Louis, we went in, did the search warrant, and Louis unfortunately got shot and got killed. And what happened when the bad guy was shooting is two people in my field team, I'm not going to say their names, because maybe they don't want me to talk about them on my YouTube shit here, returned fire. And actually, one of the officers returning fire hit the guy in the ass because he was fucking running away, the pussy, after he shot and hit Louis Lopez, okay? So, and he was white, by the way, okay? So, oh, the cops only shoot black guys. Well, no, this cocksucker was white, rich white from Jersey, okay? So, Louis died because this was a no-knock search warrant, which we did not use as a no-knock under the circumstances because it was a place of business and there was glass front. You had to get buzzed in, but that is not the important part of it. What I'm trying to show you is that drug dealers have guns. I can't tell you how many times I did warrants and we came up with fucking guns and drugs. I did one fucking search warrant in the Bronx where I came up with $10,000 in small bills and 10 fucking guns, okay? So we used to find a lot of fucking artillery in these fucking places. So I'm gonna put my glasses on so I don't fuck up any of the details on the thing that happened in Kentucky with Breonna Taylor, okay? Obviously the subject of this main thing where they got 5 search warrants that they hit simultaneously back in March of this year, all started because of a guy named Jamarcus Glover, who was a crack dealer over there. The judge signed all 5 search warrants. The locations were all linked to this guy Glover. He was a convicted felon, all right? So we're not talking about a fucking Boy Scout over here. We're talking about a piece of shit, plain English. And he supposedly had drug houses in the area. One of these search warrants was Breonna Taylor's residence. So say, well, how did that happen? I thought she was an innocent EMT, whatever. We call them EMS here in the city. She was an EMT. She was, and she was innocent. She had nothing to do with the drug dealing. But backstory, you guys don't ever listen to the fucking backstory. It's very important when you break down cases like this. Glover used her address as his current home address at the time of the shooting in January. March. They did computer checks, and mail was also delivered to his name at that address, that apartment where Breonna Taylor lived. But also, you have to remember, they were dating on and off for, I believe, where I read, 7 years. She was dating a known drug dealer for 7 years. Doesn't make her a bad person. I'm not trying to victimize the victim here. She was innocent when she got shot. She was shot mistakenly, and we're going to get to that in a moment. So Breonna Taylor was dating this guy. He was using her address, and at one time, right before the warrant was signed, one of the cops, because we used to sit on these places and do observations, they call that, watches him walk into her house, leaves a short time later with a package, and he drives to another place and delivers this package at a known drug location. So obviously Breonna Taylor was still involved with this guy close to the day of the shooting, okay? So now Taylor's car has also been observed at another alleged drug dealer's house linked to Glover on different occasions. So either she was going there to visit this guy or he was using her car. Either way, that shows a relationship between this main subject of this whole search warrants that they hit. Very common, like I said, no knocks. Multiple locations were being executed in these search warrants simultaneously, and we used to do that all the time. Taylor was deemed a soft target, her location, because they didn't think that there was going to be like heavy, stuff going there. They just thought maybe they were like stashing shit there and stuff like that. So basically, even though they had a no-knock search warrant signed by a fucking judge, they could have rammed that door open. Their bosses decided, let's knock first and announce our presence, give them a chance to open the door, and then we showed them the warrant, and we're off to the races from there. They go there at 12:30 a.m., 00:30 hours for you guys that are in the police, right? The sergeant bangs on the door, police open up. They do it a number of times. Nobody fucking answers. There's a lieutenant also on the scene. He gives the command to fucking boom the door. And now, pow goes the fucking door. The boyfriend, not Glover, Kenneth Walker, he's there at the house with Breonna Taylor. They're in bed. I don't know if they're both asleep, but it said that she fell asleep. And he thought when he first heard the banging, he's saying he heard the banging, he thought it was Glover, like coming there to start trouble because, I guess they're both dating the same girl, whatever. Walker said both he and Taylor asked who it is. They're both saying that she woke up, and they're both saying, who is it? Who is it? Now, obviously, if the cops are saying, open up, it's the police, they're not hearing them say it's the police. The cops aren't hearing them say, who is it? Because they've already announced their presence. The element of surprise is no longer there, okay? So the cops, if they did hear Taylor and Walker say, who is it, they would have said, police, open the fucking door, right? Obviously, the both parties did not hear each other's verbal commands, just the banging on the door. They boom the door. The sergeant is the first one to enter. And being a retired sergeant, I love seeing that because usually the sergeants try to hide in the back. I never was like that. I love being point man on fucking search warrants. And it ain't no Rambo shit. It's just, that's what you're there for. Don't be a pussy. So he's the first to get into the place. He can make out, see in a darkened hallway, a man and a woman So they're not in the bed anymore. A lot of people had the information that she got shot in her bed while she was sleeping and all of this shit. I wasn't even sure until I looked up a lot of these details. So I did my homework before making this video. He sees a guy and a girl in the darkened hallway, and he can see the guy has a gun in his hand. Now, if you're a fucking cop booming a fucking door at a drug location, the first thing you think of is, holy shit, gun. Okay? And put it this way. He could have shot the fucking guy right then and there the second he saw the fucking gun. But he holds back, and guess what happens? Walker shoots him in the fucking leg and severs his femoral artery in his leg. This is the sergeant, the first guy in the fucking door. He fucking returns fire even though he's down, right? And the other people in the field team get him the fuck out of there for safety reasons, obviously. He returned 6 fucking rounds he let go. 2 other officers also returned fire while this was going on. Taylor was unfortunately hit. Walker wasn't, but now he's arrested and indicted for attempted murder of a police officer. Okay, so there was no drugs found in the house. I cannot tell you how many times we had fucking warrants where we went and we had good information, but guess what? Drugs were gone. Many times somebody fucking squealed and said it. A lot of times you're getting confidential informants to give you information. A lot of times at the last minute they get second thoughts and they tell their boss, the cops are going to fucking hit your door tomorrow, get rid of everything. I don't know if that's the case here, mere speculation. It doesn't mean that there wasn't drugs there at some point in time or people associated with drugs, as I just explained to you about the guy who Glover, who is involved with her as a boyfriend. All right, so now months and months later, in May, the DA dismisses the indictment, and it was only because after the George Floyd incident in Minnesota on May 25th that this thing really started getting a lot of. I mean, nobody heard of this outside of probably the jurisdiction over there. And then the city council in June in Kentucky passes Breonna's law, bans no-knock search warrants, and requires those doing search warrants to be wearing body cams. 8 days later, there's a new chief, and he fires one of the officers. Now, I didn't really have a problem with this because this guy, it sounded like he had like rear security. He was outside the back door or something, and there's drapes. I saw a photo online with the bullet holes. He fires 10 rounds into the fucking house when he hears shots going off, and I'm sure on their point-to-point radios, you know, man down, cop hit or whatever. But still, I know Monday morning quarterback of the cops, but in this instance, you gotta know who and what you're shooting at. All right? Now, I still don't know. I didn't see anything where they said whose bullet hit Taylor and killed her. Was it the sergeant who was shot in the leg, or was it one of these other 2 officers? Either way, a lot of people were also mistaken that the guy who shot Taylor was the one who got fired, the cop who got shot also. Most people don't even say the cop got shot. They just said the cop shot the girl. They don't say the cop got shot first. But many of them mistakenly think it's that guy, the sergeant, who's the guy who got fired. No, it was somebody else in the fucking field team that did something that was fucking not a very smart tactical thing. And Breonna Taylor's sister even acknowledged that she was in relationship with this guy Glover, who was the drug dealer. So, long story short, when you go through a fucking door for narcotics purposes, it's up to here. You're like this, holy shit. I mean, your eyes are like fucking saucers, right? You're ready to fucking go, because you know something on the other side of that door that's not going to be fucking friendly. It could even be a fucking dog. Like when we had search warrant applications, you had to fill out everything. Is there dogs and stuff, just so you know what's going on when you get the fuck in there. You don't want a pit bull biting your fucking balls off when you go in there. You want to be able to kick it or shoot it if you have to. So she did not get shot in her bed. She was shot in the hallway. Should not have gotten shot. The guy firing the rounds is claiming he didn't know they were cops, even though they were yelling police. But like I said, they didn't hear these people saying, who is it? And these people, being the cops, didn't hear, the Breonna Taylor and the boyfriend didn't hear the cops saying it's the police. The door being boomed, I'm telling you from my personal experience, when you go through a door, you are screaming, police, don't move, so fucking loud. I don't know what they were wearing, but we used to wear raid jackets, which were like blue windbreakers that said NYPD, narcotics. I think mine said TNT. I had one of the old ones with a detective badge printed on here. You're wearing your badge around your fucking neck on a fucking chain and a little black fucking leather thing. You're screaming, you fucking, especially the shop that probably had a spotlight, somebody holding a light. It's obvious that they're cops. But I will give the benefit of the doubt of this guy shooting at someone he thought was an intruder. And I'll be the first to say, if somebody sneaks in my house, I have my fucking guns, I'm fucking shooting them. I'm not asking them, what are you doing here, right? Shoot first, ask questions later. So I'm not even blaming the boyfriend for shooting the cop in a way, right? I'm trying to be fair here in the middle. But the cop shooting back at the boyfriend and accidentally hitting Breonna Taylor, which the boyfriend probably jumped on the floor like he was in front of her and then jumped on the floor and left her fucking standing there, like the fucking paper target at the range. So I don't know really what happened there. But you cannot blame a cop for shooting back at a perp who already shot him. Not at him. Got him in the leg. Lucky he's still alive, this fucking guy. Getting hit in the fucking artery in the leg. He could have bled out right there. And I'm not sure what his condition was after that. He probably was pretty fucked up for a little while. So, guys, if you've never done an entry of a search warrant on a narcotics location, you cannot put yourself in that position. It all comes back to the original guy who was the drug dealer, the main subject in this thing. If it wasn't for him selling crack, Breonna Taylor never would have got killed, the cop never would have got shot, and we would have never had all of this fallout from this case after that.